Security Chief Mordax had reviewed the credentials of every diplomatic guard entering the Galactic Council chambers for 20 years. He knew weapons. Plasma rifles, neural disruptors, molecular blades, kinetic accelerators, he cataloged them all. So when the human delegation arrived with their guards carrying absolutely nothing, he was certain he'd missed something. "Stop!" he commanded, his scanner sweeping over the first human guard, a woman named Chen. "You're carrying no weapons?" "Correct, Chief," Chen replied pleasantly. "No plasma sidearm? No concealed blade? No neural stunner?" "None of those, sir." Mordax's mandibles clicked in confusion. "Then how do you expect to protect Ambassador Williams?" Chen smiled. "With these." She held up her empty hands. The Corthian guard behind Mordax laughed, a deep rumbling sound. "The human jests? Bare hands against energy weapons? Ridiculous." "If you say so," Chen said, still smiling as she moved past security. The incident report reached the Council's attention 3 hours into the diplomatic session, when the Vraxian ambassador's guard made a critical error. High on stimulants and paranoid from classified intelligence briefings, he perceived a threat that didn't exist and drew his weapon in the sacred chamber. What happened next was recorded from 17 different angles, and would be studied at every military academy in the galaxy. Shin moved. Not with the superhuman speed of augmented warriors, or the teleportation of advanced species. She moved with practiced precision, covering 5 meters in under a second, her hand striking the Vraxian's wrist with calculated force. The weapon clattered to the floor. Before it landed, she'd swept his legs, controlled his fall, and had him immobilized face down on the marble floor. Total elapsed time, 2.3 seconds. The other human guards had simultaneously positioned themselves between the threat and all ambassadors, not just the human one, but all of them. Their hands were raised, their stances ready, but they made no aggressive moves toward the other guards. "Stand down!" Ambassador Williams called out. "Everyone remain calm." Chin held the Vraxian guard in a lock that prevented movement without causing injury. "Sir," she said calmly, "are you injured? Do you need medical assistance?" The Vraxian, stunned and embarrassed, could only shake his head. "Good. I'm going to release you now. Please remain on the floor until security arrives." Chin let go and stepped back, hands visible and open. The emergency session convened immediately. Mordax stood before the Security Council, his confusion evident. "Explain," demanded Chancellor Vextar, "how an unarmed human guard neutralized an armed Vraxian soldier in less than 3 seconds." Ambassador Williams stood. "If I may, Chancellor, I can explain our security philosophy." At the Chancellor's nod, she continued. "Humans learned something during our development that many species apparently didn't. Weapons are tools. Dangerous tools. In diplomatic settings, they create more problems than they solve." She gestured to Chen, who stood at attention. "Garchen has trained for 15 years in multiple martial disciplines. Krav Maga, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Systema, Aikido. She understands human anatomy, alien anatomy, physics, and leverage. She can neutralize threats without killing, control situations without escalating, and protect people without endangering bystanders. But she's unarmed," a Centauri counselor protested. "No," Williams corrected. "She's not carrying a weapon. There's a difference. Her body is trained. Her mind is disciplined. She can assess threats, calculate responses, and execute techniques in fractions of a second. And unlike a weapon, she can't be taken away and used against us." Mordax pulled up the security footage again, watching Chen's movements frame by frame. "This is a common skill among humans?" "Common enough," Williams said. "On Earth, we have billions of practitioners of various martial arts. Some for sport, some for self-defense, some for discipline. We've been developing hand-to-hand combat techniques for thousands of years. A Korthian military advisor leaned forward. Your guards could kill with these techniques? Yes, William said simply. But that's not their purpose here. Chin could have broken the guard's arm, dislocated his shoulder, or rendered him unconscious. She chose the minimum force necessary to neutralize the threat. That's the point. She looked around the chamber. You all bring guards with weapons, creating an arms race of increasingly deadly technology in what's supposed to be a place of peace. We bring guards who are weapons, but weapons with judgment, restraint, and the ability to scale their response appropriately. The Chancellor was quiet for a long moment. And if faced with actual deadly force? Williams nodded to Chin, who stepped forward. Sir, I've trained against weapons my entire career. Knives, guns, energy weapons, even opponents in powered armor. The techniques adapt. And if necessary. She paused. A human who knows what they're doing can kill someone in dozens of ways using only their body. We just prefer not to. Prefer? Mordax echoed. We're not pacifists, Chief, Chin said. We're professionals. We understand that in a room full of diplomats trying to prevent wars, the last thing anyone needs is a firefight. So we train to be the solution that doesn't require weapons fire. The council debated for hours. Finally, Chancellor Vextar announced the decision. Effective immediately, human diplomatic guards are exempt from the unarmed classification. They will be registered as inherently armed personnel. However, he paused, we're requesting that Earth consider training programs for other species' diplomatic guards. Your philosophy has merit. Ambassador Williams smiled. We'd be honored, Chancellor. 3 months later, the Galactic Diplomatic Guard training program opened on Earth. 50 students from 30 species came to learn what humans had known for millennia. The most dangerous weapon is a disciplined mind in a trained body. And the safest weapon is one that doesn't need to be drawn. Guard Chen became the program's chief instructor. On the first day, she told her students the same thing her first teacher had told her. A weapon makes you powerful. Training makes you dangerous. But discipline makes you safe. The galaxy was learning that humans didn't need to carry weapons. They were weapons, who chose when to use that power, and when to show restraint. That restraint, it turned out, was more impressive than any weapon they could have carried.